Alright. Already something interesting happening. Let's get into it. We're on Golden Wall for game 1. In the bottom right has the blue Protoss. He is MaxPax. Team Exxon. And he is already mining out the back rocks. In the bottom left was the red Protoss. He is Geralt, also on Team Exxon, so a little bit of a team kill here. Clan kill. Now, when we talk about teams, pretty much, no matter what the circumstances are, the War Chest Team League or an actual, team league, teams generally aren't that buddy-buddy. Maybe they find one, pretty close friend, or they do feel more comfortable asking for, ooh, doesn't quite get the probe. Oh, getting the probe would have been such a big deal. Oh my god. Oh my god. Do you see it? You saw that was mined out. Did he pay attention to it, though? Ooh, okay. Anyways, they might, find it better to ask for practice, but generally we're talking about, just them sharing a clan tag, So I'm not sure that Geralt knows about MaxPax's specific tricks, but he might, just because it's not, it's not a clan thing, it's just a ladder thing. It's just knowing the name MaxPax and what he's been doing recently in these tournaments, actually. He has been getting the upsets. And he has been doing it through a decent amount of cheese, that's for sure. MaxPax is already set up for a proxy Stargate. Geralt scouted the probes, or scouted the lack of mineral here, and then went for the full scout. Has denied a potential behind natural, and has also continued scouting for a second pylon, which of course they didn't see, so he knows that MaxPax has already set up whatever he was going to set up. In this case, maybe you quickly check that they didn't mine out your minerals somehow quickly too. And if they didn't do that, then you are guessing first and foremost a Stargate, and then perhaps second a proxy robo. Or hell, even a double proxy robo is definitely a thing we have seen. But a Stargate would be I think the most logical option. And it's something that Geralt kind of wanted to go for a scout. Like, he had something that was huge, and then didn't. Instead, he went for a 7x square block on the natural, as he saw that MaxPax really did want to take this as a natural. He could take this as a natural. He could. But it's not what he wants to do. It's not ideal, and it would be riskier to do so. Well, this is just flipping awkward. But the second Phoenix does pop out, so Geralt has to skedaddle, and we're into a Phoenix versus Phoenix war. Geralt was perhaps hoping MaxPax would still bust out an Oracle and try to hide it, maybe. That's what we see a lot of the time. Once the Protoss player who's proxying the Stargate knows the jig is up, they'll either go for their own Phoenix, and that's fair, or they'll try and hide their Oracles and be like, yeah, I just didn't do it, Or, catch me if you can. You don't know where I am, but, yeah, it's pretty easy for Geralt to scout where the Stargate is, so. Oracles would have gotten bopped, so it's a Phoenix versus Phoenix war. It does happen. And it is going to be Geralt who's going to back away first. Oh, he gets supply blocked. Oh, it's actually a pretty big deal. Generally, that supply block would be made up for by the, not being in proximity. But Stargate of MaxPax is in proximity, so it's a little scary. 5 Phoenix to 4. Guess which wins? It's the 5-1. Oh, Geralt did just also invest in a couple of stalkers, at least. I think 2 versus 5. He just canceled that one Phoenix he was gonna build? I think he just, yeah, I think that's what happened. Yeah, alright. Neat little block here from Geralt. Or, wait, from MaxPax, sorry. Oh, the recall to save it! Instead, it ends up being a waste of energy. It sucks. Anyways, yeah, you mine this out, you can then destroy whatever below it, because it's the fastest thing to mine out, but if you build a pylon there, obviously you gotta kill the pylon. Another complication I did not talk about specifically in this game, as there are so many other interesting things to talk about. And definitely the priority was talking about how Geralt was losing the Phoenix War. Losing a Phoenix War is terrible. You're kind of supposed to be punished for losing the Phoenix War. At some point, you gotta admit when you've lost it, and then you try a Hail Mary to try and get out of it. You try and go to Blinkstocks, try and go to Archons, what have you. But generally, if you realize it is a Phoenix War, you stay in a Phoenix War. Because Phoenixes are catastrophic, not just to the air. It's not like you losing a Corruptor War or some shit. I don't know. You also have to deal with the Phoenixes lifting up your ground units and lifting up your probes and just having the agility that no other Protoss unit can really match. Even Blink Stalkers aren't quite as agile. So this looks like a MaxPax game to me. Picks up the sentries. The shield batteries tried their best to help out. Geralt's trying his best to focus fire down some of the weak Phoenix, but this is not looking very good at all. Probe counts very similar, despite MaxPax being so late to his natural. With the delay of the Side X core, it still came down at a reasonable time. He is still producing Phoenix. He knows he's winning that war. And if he's winning the Phoenix war, he's just winning the game, honestly. Unless Geralt had already been investing into Stalkers and already been investing into Blink so that it's done, or almost done. Unless that happens, you're in a lot of trouble. Geralt trying to even win the Phoenix War because he had to take it into consideration. It could have been Oracle. Like, what an awkward game. PvP in general is an awkward matchup. Well, what Phoenixes can do. It's fun. 9 probes go down without many, if any, losses of the Phoenix. MaxPax feels comfortable on that amount of Phoenix, has gone into his own ground production. So Immortal just popped out. Twilight Council is on the way. He could go into the normal, PvP, the Charge, Immortal, Archon PvP. Because even though things have been turning more towards Blink and Blink Disruptor, and you can start on Charge on Immortal and then go into Blink Disruptor, right? You can't really go into Blink Disruptor if your opponent has the least number of Phoenix. So with that taken care of, MaxPax has full permission to go into just normal Charge out Archon, which is going to be superior to just pure Blink Stalker. Alright, I know everyone's gonna point out the whole Alpha Star thing, but like, fuck that was stupid. The army of Geralt is gonna be inferior. So, desperate times. Sometimes the desperation is in the robotics bay, is in the disruptors, but as I said, Phoenix are already out, you can't really do disruptors. That'd be a real gamble. You'd be basically saying, I hope I get to 6 or 7 disruptors so he can't pick them all up before he notices I'm going into disruptors. That's quite difficult to do. So the other gamble, the combo is the Dark Shrine, which for some reason just got a 1 on it. Did I do that? Maybe I just didn't notice it until then. Okay, maybe I'm crazy. Anyways. Obviously there's only 1 Dark Shrine on the way. Who builds 2 Dark Shrine? Anyway, so... I mean, that could work out. I don't know if he saw this Observer and is trying to track it at all, but... The Observer definitely saw the Dark Shrine. But, PvP can be a very hectic matchup even without Disruptors, so... you know about the Dark Shrine, but you don't know where exactly we'll be hitting it. Kind of a funny pylon here. You wouldn't expect Geralt to get the opportunity to do that, but he does because MaxPax isn't even trying to expand that direction. He is entirely expanding towards the south. Now, Geralt could, he obviously has mobility. That's what Stalker's supposed to have. They're supposed to have the faster third, because they can kind of delay the third of your opponent, but that didn't happen here. And they can maybe pick off some of these important units. Good recall attempt to save Stalkers again. And these important units in this case might be those Phoenix. If he can get rid of enough Phoenix, then maybe he could actually add a robotics band going to Disruptors, because he did kill the Stargate. So that's a potential, but for later. Right now, MaxPax feels very confident with his army, building a Warp Prism. He's going to be able to at least default deny mining from here, right? And we gotta talk about just the size and compositions first and foremost. Disruptors could have been a comeback tool for 20 supply. Without Disruptors, whose army is better? It's MaxPax's. Whose army is bigger? It's MaxPax's. Whose army is gonna have more upgrades? MaxPax, eventually. Geralt's trying his damnedest to do something, though. I mean, hey, lost mining, but didn't lose the base. right? That's something. At least he's been mining from the gold base for a little while. But obviously it's not really long for this world. He's not dead, though. And that's just like, you know, kudos. Kudos to not dying. And now those DTs that went through the north have gone east and are going to try and break into the main base. Going to go for both pylons here. A couple Archons are going to be safe. Looks like that Nexus is only attackable by a handful of units, so it might just survive, maybe. This MaxPax has to warp in defensively at some point. He also has to worry about an Observer. Actually, Geralt going for the attack or trying to circumvent the army finds MaxPax's army, and, well, again, whose army is better? It's MaxPax's. The Immortals, to be fair, though, are not hitting the right army. Uh-oh, hold on here. Nah. Geralt's good in this one. But to the army's credit there, the Stalkers were on the right side of history. They were on literally the right side, and the Immortals were on the left. Speaking of which, they get caught by a couple of Zealots, so one of them does go down. All of their barriers have been popped, and Geralt really is trying to make something happen. Like, hot damn. The DTs, unfortunately, were cleaned up by a cannon and an Observer and maybe a handful of units. This Nexus still is not mining. If Geralt had managed to hide a force somewhere that was actually just where he put all his probes, that would be an amazing situation, but he's literally mining off of 2 bases. And while that fight was probably the best fight he could have gotten, because the Immortals weren't hitting the right units, it still wasn't that great of a fight. And, I think this is the time where maybe you try and slap down a Robotics Bay. You really can't afford it. Any more DTs? I don't know what they're gonna go and do. Nothing. Geralt's long distance mining. MaxPax just, what a tricky build, you know? Like, Geralt, maybe had he just only went for 1 Phoenix and said, oh, I see where this is going. No, thank you. Or maybe just, like, faster when his Twilight Council, skipped a Stalker warp in, or didn't get that 3rd or 4th Phoenix. Like, I don't know, but it was always awkward for him because he did have to take the Stargate proxy seriously, the Oracle potential seriously. But it ended up causing a brief Phoenix war that he just got demolished in. And from then on, it's hard to recover. It's hard to recover. If you're able to scout it quickly and thus react to it quickly, it's something that you can absolutely take care of. It's not like Phoenix openers are the most OP thing ever. No, absolutely not. So we don't see them that often, but if you don't prepare for it, or you get kind of stuck in that weird situation that he did, and then you're kind of catching up, it's really hard to catch up, I think, against Phoenixes. Is the best way to put it. All right. And now, truly into Ice and Chrome. In the bottom left, down 1, he is Geralt. In the top right, as the blue Protoss, it is a MaxPax. And this young lad is up 1-0. Not that Geralt is that much older, but when we talk about 16 versus 20, sounds a lot. Talk about an 80-year-old versus an 84-year-old. It's nothing. It's nothing at all. But, you know. MaxPax on the up and up, man. Initially known for just the simple little MaxPax build. The one-trick pony that lasted for like a couple months, actually. Still known mostly as a cheeser or, you know, shock and awe player. Has actually rounded out his macro, micro, and perhaps just tournaments. What's the word? Tournament mentality. There we go. This is nice. Trying to make him believe it's a cannon rush. It is not, but Geralt doing a very good job not overreacting. Very good job. Yeah. You can hype up a young player, a new player all you want, but You throw them into a show match, you throw them into a high-stakes tournament, you throw them into a match against one of their favorite players because they're coming in as, you know, fans as well, first and foremost. What most of us got into the game is we were fans, and then we were like, let's, you know, play a bunch. And anyways, like that's usually where you see a lot of mistakes being made. But MaxPax maybe was making that a couple months ago. Has, I guess, divvied up his play so much that he could macro, he could do something weird, he could cheese, he could not, like that. If he is feeling nerves, if he is being figured out by one person, he's not doing it, he's not affected enough by his nerves. He's not being figured out enough by every player. And he's actually making it to the semifinals of these tournaments, which is really quite impressive. But Geralt is no slouch. Geralt actually kind of impressed me with the decision-making he did in that last game. It wasn't perfect. If it was perfect, he wouldn't have lost. But in that very weird situation, very weird, unorthodox PvP, and it's a PvP, which is already kind of a weird situation. Geralt, I think, in my eyes, showed why he's a good PvPer, why a lot of these up-and-coming European Protosses are up-and-coming. It seems like they are pushing each other down to climb to the top. At the same time, all of them are being elevated by a platform. So one person gets pushed down and says, no, F you, and then pushes the next person down. And then that person actually pushes the guy who just got to the top down. And it's actually causing this, like, very cutthroat, but, oh god, effective. Oh god, oh no, that was a mistake. Oh my god, that was such a mistake. Oh god. Woo! Woo! It's still not very good for Geralt. Anyways, I was gonna say that it's creating this very cutthroat, but it's kind of working scenario where a lot of Protosses are now getting better and better, specifically in the European region. But anyways, it can be a bit cutthroat. Suddenly you have like the round of 8 being 6 out of 8 Protosses, and you're like, well, fuck, I hope my PvP is really good. Which apparently MaxPax is doing better than the rest. He did defeat Showtime to get here and is well on his way to 2-0 Geralt. As this start was not very good for a Red Protoss. Not good at all. Very, very bold to go up that ramp against those stalkers. And, I mean, it doesn't seem like it's a lot. There's a couple of Phoenix helping out, but it is a lot. You don't really want to be producing units at this time from your gateway, and if you are producing units, you want it to be like a couple of sentries, preparing for the later stages, you know, mid-game PvP, the 6-minute PvP. And instead, you're desperately clawing your way against Stalker Phoenix pressure with only 2 gateways while your Blink is researching but not yet helping. You're getting a lot of mining time denied while MaxPax does establish his 3rd and actually starts building probes for it. Not a great start there for Geralt. Well, MaxPax starts off first with a Stargate. Something that Geralt was able to scout and maybe felt confident there would be a couple of stalkers. Sorry, there'd be a couple of adepts instead of stalkers. And if there's a couple of adepts, then all he has to worry about is having a probe back at home block them out. And usually he would be able to bully back MaxPax a little bit. But nah, MaxPax actually went for stalkers. That was why Geralt was so surprised. That's why he over-dedicated so much. And those Phoenix ended up being, again, just quick enough units that they could help continue the momentum. That's what they're great about. In PvT, we saw it today, where Clam made one bad decision, didn't realize quite what he's up against. You immediately get counterattacked by Charge Lot Phoenix. We see it here today, Phoenix once again proving just how good they are at just keeping the momentum, keeping the pressure up. Tons of different options for these guys. They can harass really well, they can take out crucial units in a fight really well, and they don't do so poorly against certain units as well, you know, like they take out sentries very fast, take out adepts pretty fast. Scary stuff. So MaxPax goes for the Stargate opener, gets a lead a little bit, so the income was more consistent for him. And he doesn't spend time going for stalkers and Blink specifically. Now that's going to be the real change-up, though, is that Geralt has Blink, and it's not nearly as oppressive. It's not nearly as much of an oppressive situation. Oh, that was hard for me to English, but it was. As it was last game. So this should be where we see those highlights of Blink Stalker versus anything else. Blink Stalkers get the faster third base. Hopefully get a delay on his opponent's third base. Blink Stalkers chip away at the army, more than the Phoenix do. I mean, Phoenixes, they aren't supposed to kill the big units that quickly. They're not supposed to kill the Immortal or kill the Stalkers. They just take them out of the equation temporarily. So when it comes to stalling out the increasing number of Stalkers that Geralt will get, they're supposed to start to struggle. Alright, now Geralt not quite at that number that is so scary. He's actually pretty eager to move on. He's going to get into charge and quickly add on a Dark Shrine. He's taking the potential of the Phoenix harassment more seriously than the potential of his own, I guess, posturing. Which makes sense. I mean, it's actually kind of surprising that MaxPax hasn't used his Phoenixes that much in the main or natural of Geralt. But I think there is a little bit of that, like, well, I'm kind of scared of you, and you're kind of scared of me. There's a little bit of, like, the spider versus human going on, where, like, they're both terrified of each other, but honestly, the human might be better off. Probably gonna win, but if the spider's poisonous, who knows? Anyways. So they both kind of just sat back at home, and no denying, no delay, no harassment has happened, funnily enough, despite both of them having units that, you know, kind of are usually good at that. So they both go into charge, but Geralt might try and push Disruptors this game. If he doesn't try to push Disruptors, we gotta see him also go for the Archons. And, well, last game he did have Archons, it was from the Dark Templar. You do also want the option of High Templar Archons. DTs are warped in from, I don't even know where. Okay, part of the Warp Prism crew. This pylon has been here since the beginning. Not gonna go down now. So the DTs are currently just being used to make Archons. And that's fair. Like, usually you think, okay, I'm gonna be building a lot of charge lots, all minerals, so I have a lot of gas. That's why High Templars work with it. But if you're kind of building like a charge lot / stalker army, then I guess the gas isn't as high as it would be compared to MaxPax's army. So DT's a little less expensive on the gas cost. Makes sense for him to go into, but okay. I do like seeing him have both options. And I also like seeing the positioning of the Stalkers, trying to get something done. Don't really find too much, but, you know, they tried. Saw the army. Now they're going to be a little late to the party. Forcefield's not going to be able to buy any time because there are Archons, so these Stalkers have got to skedaddle. I don't know about the army. Oh, if they had come in from behind and grabbed that Warp Prism, that would have been amazing. Oh, no. Alright, okay, now he knows. Now he knows. Oh, the Warp Prism disengages. Don't know if he can grab it anymore. The Stalker's actually recalled, so never mind. He's looking for the main fight. Both their armies very close in supply. +2 not quite done for Geralt, so a very good timing for MaxPax indeed. And the Warp Prism of Geralt gets taken out by the Phoenix, but the Phoenix aren't helping out very much more. Besides that, no lift-ups here. They're actually being taken out by the Archons, so when we're talking about that army supply, don't forget those Phoenix only had one job. That job was to kill the Warp Prism, and sometimes that's a very good job. That's a very good thing. That's the game-deciding thing. And that specific encounter, I don't think it was. The Phoenixes just looked like dead weights with a ton of energy and not much else to do. Nice defense by Geralt, but also a good decision there for MaxPax to realize, okay, I'm actually not winning this as much as I thought it was going to be. I'm going to recall out, and the recall was good. He managed to even save the units that weren't recalled. And we kind of just settle here. A little bit of a increase in, you know, adrenaline, and then we all calm down. Just take a chill pill. And if we're going to take a chill pill, then I guess we got to talk about robotic space. I mean, I think there's a reason that Disruptors are where they are now, which is used almost every single game. Many PvPs are going into Blink Stalker Disruptor. And it's not just because Blink Stalkers have also found their new place as the most important unit in the Protoss arsenal. which is actually an old place, I guess, if you would play back in Heart of the Swarm. But anyways, it's not just because of that. I do think that, in general, it's going to be the combination Blink, Stalker, Disruptor that is the more powerful combination, the combination with the most potential. I guess is a better way to put it. Excuse me. So, anyways, I would love to see Disruptors on the way for both parties, but it's MaxPax actually going for a little less of the volatility. The choice of Disruptors, I mean, it's good. It's very good, but it is also something that's it's a little more difficult to use. Not that I don't think MaxPax is complaining about difficulty. I do think he's intending, like, okay, I think Colossus is going to work out better for what I want to do, but definitely no denying that Disruptors are going to be a little more difficult to use. A lot more positional, micro, hoping you don't find yourself, in the wrong place at the wrong time. Colossus, a little more straightforward. A little more of that A move, and certainly more consistent in their damage, so a little more trustworthy, I suppose, as well. So MaxPax goes for Colossus, and then is going to make sure that he wins the Air War. Now, he's already winning the Air War because Geralt only just finished a Stargate, but he's going to make sure he's winning it by going for a second Stargate. So that's going to be a bunch of Phoenixes when Geralt goes into Disruptors. And it's also going to be a smoother transition to a potential super late game PvP, which is pretty sick. In fact, he's even getting into +1 air weapons, which I think is really the right call. Geralt is the first to go to a 5th base. I think recognizing this is going to go on for an extended period of time is good, but Geralt is not just going for a faster 5th, he's also going for double pumped robo units, which is quite expensive, 2 more Stargates, and a Fleet Beacon. There is a reason Geralt does not have as much supply as his opponent right now, and it's not because that fight went so much worse for him, because he's not dedicating to building more units. Well, building more gateway units anyways. That's scary. MaxPax actually moves forward. 40 army supply lead, but he does have to worry about the Disruptors. All the Phoenix have to do is pick up a Disruptor to cancel it. The Phoenixes are going to clump like a mother when they're up against Disruptors, picking up Disruptors. So that's where these Archons come into play. These Archons need to protect their baby Disruptors. Stalkers now with +2 weapons also be pretty good at picking off those Phoenix. One goes down, another one probably going to go down pretty quickly. The MaxPax, this isn't even the end game. It's a pretty scary army, but it's not the end-all be-all. He's building carriers back at home, continuing to get upgrades. They both are actually preparing for the super late game with shields and air weapons. A Dark Shrine also on the way for MaxPax. Now, MaxPax adds a carrier. It's going to be the worst option that he could go for. Theoretically, I mean, there's a lot to be said about this, but in theory, Tempests are supposed to win against the carriers. What can happen, though, right, is that, you get to carriers so much faster than the guy who's trying to go for Tempest, like a minute or two faster, you have 6 carriers against only 2 Tempests. I mean, okay, what wins in that situation? Probably the carriers end up bullying you. But this is a very close race to air, and the fact that Geralt goes into Tempests is so much better. It's supposed to be so much better. There's a reason that's like, the fear of Tempest is why you don't go carriers in the first place, why it's such a risk. Not just, investing into capital ships is the risk, but also that carriers are not going to be as good. So, feeling good for Geralt. The MaxPax actually utilizing his army in a way that you would not expect. Now, the Phoenix is very mobile, but the rest of his army isn't so much. So, him actually going to the left with Zealots, to the right with his army. I don't think Geralt was anticipating that, and he's gonna maybe lose 2 Archons, but nothing on the recall was lost. The Zealots were taken care of. There was just way too much stack defense there. He's going to need DTs with Blink to crack a base like that, and Geralt's already getting to that Blink. Actually, MaxPax even adding on Stalker Blink, funnily enough. Continuing to upgrade off of even 2 Cybernetic Spores. Things are getting really weird in this PvP. Geralt has Disruptors. He's got Tempest. He is actually commanding MaxPax's 5th base right now, and I think MaxPax has to give it up. Even has an Oracle to help out when those Tempest engagements really come down to Tempest. Oh, a little bit awkward. The Phoenixes grab all the Disruptors. They haven't shot, though, so when they land, maybe they could shoot. Well, most of them just died, so never mind about that. Still, the 5th base goes down alongside a handful of probes. And while Geralt lost most of his disruptors, I'm not sure that he cares anymore. I think, you know, you still want like 2, maybe 4 disruptors with these armies that they're getting, but once you have 4 disruptors, I think it's a lot more about those Tempests. So I'm glad to see Geralt just be okay with that. I mean, as I said, maybe he rebuilds a couple more disruptors, but I think he's ultimately okay and just uses the supply to rebuild more Tempests, even in a carrier here and there. Fortunately, his Warp In missed the Warp Prism of MaxPax. He has a good sight on the map otherwise. Actually, MaxPax does too, but on the opposite side of the map. Yeah, Mortals being killed, actually probably not the biggest deal. But the Mothership being killed is a bigger deal. Uh-oh. Recall does save about 3/4 of the army, but the Mothership ultimately dies. The rest of the army will escape. Big ol' DT run by. Ooh, so much scarier than whatever MaxPax had set up on Geralt's third. This is gonna grab 20 probes instantly, as well as the Nexus. Goodbye. And the DTs actually leave. I mean, a good revelation, so maybe most of the DTs will die, but they're gonna buy a lot of time. I mean, Geralt, yeah, he could be attacking the right side, and MaxPax just wouldn't know about that because the Xel'Naga is not under his control. And the Observer that was over here got killed. So he can't even chase, because what if Geralt has another attack somewhere? Unfortunately for MaxPax, he could have chased, but he did not know that. DTs, speaking of MaxPax, going into the main base, not a whole lot of static defense up here. Maybe enough for 3 DTs, though. Yeah, those Immortals being killed, probably not the biggest deal. I mean, Immortals at this stage of a PvP, you are generally looking to get rid of them, so... What is left over is more of the question. 12 Tempest for MaxPax compared to just the 5 of Geralt. Oh my god, that changed very quickly. Uh-oh, Geralt's in a bit of trouble. He's still blinking into Archons. You know, there's not even many Immortals there, but he's still blinking into a very scary ground army, so that's not really the ideal situation. But, ooh, his run-by is continuing to do great work. Get 8 probes. And again, most of them will survive, apparently, and they forced a recall. And that was an extremely dangerous situation there for Geralt. Though that recall actually just saved a lot of his units, if not his life. Nicely done. MaxPax has really run out of money. He needs a space up and running, and he needs to add static defense to it. If he takes a bad fight, he won't be able to replace the army. And if he can replace the army, he's not replacing anything else. He's not building static defense. He's not rebuilding probes. He's not getting a 6th base. He needs a bank. Unfortunately, it's not working out too well. Always love to see DT on DT action. The Observer coming out for MaxPax. Geralt noticed it and so ran away from it. There is another Observer here, but oh my god, what a silly game. Can MaxPax's army win out, though? 13 Tempests to the 5 Tempests of Geralt. A Mothership for Geralt, and nothing else in the sky. Nothing else in the sky. He's trying to get to carriers to help out. I think there's always that balancing act between the consistent DPS of the carriers, when you have a decent number, and the actual dynamic of carriers versus Tempests, which is that Tempests outrange them. But if you're kind of just like shoving each other's armies into each other's faces, like there's not a whole lot of nuance there. It's not a lot of using your range against your opponent. Oh god, Disruptor actually getting a pretty good shot. Is that going to be the difference maker though? Tempest very rarely getting shots on top of the carriers of Geralt. There we go. Oh wait, what? What the fuck happened there? Oh my god! Oh, he's using the DTs! What? The DTs blink forward to kill everything on the ground there for MaxPax, and now Geralt is trying to win the air war by winning the ground war. I'm not sure that's actually going to happen. It's still 13 Tempest to only 5, and MaxPax is desperately trying to micro them. He does lose his carriers, but he's absolutely going to win the Tempest Wars. Geralt, what are you replacing this all with? He has so much money, he could easily replace 12 Stalkers. There he goes now, but oh, you know what? His gas is actually the problem. No one has a lot of gas. Stalkers, can you do it? Tempests are very weak. I think the Stalkers might be able to. The Immortal gets taken out by the DTs that still aren't being detected, and that is going to be it. GG. PvP. What a matchup. Thank you, Silly Dobby, for the 19-month resub. Silly PvP. Alright, Geralt needs a minute, so I'm going to take a minute as well. Be right back. All right. DTs are the secret to PvP success. Now that was a fairly long PvP, so remind everyone as to who they'll be facing. This is the quarterfinal, so whoever wins this will face Hero Marine in the semifinal. The other semifinal seems to already be underway. Soul versus Clem, TBT in the upper side. Could go either way there. Clem, ultimately the better player, but worse at TBT perhaps than Soul. So, I don't know who they'll be, who the finals will be, but I would not be surprised if it was Hero Marine versus Clem. We still have to figure out who is going to be up against Hero Marine, and then who wins that, and then we can get to the finals. Still a little ways to go. Okay, there's a gold for the final map. In the bottom left, as the red Protoss, he is Geralt. And in the top right, going for the natural low ground wall, it is MaxPax, both on Team Exxon. So yeah, Pillars of Gold, one of the maps that you can do this on. I think one of the critical components to going for the natural wall is that you gotta have a ramp, not just a choke. And then otherwise, I'm not sure where else you would do it. But it seems to be a Pillars of Gold specialty. The problem right now is that it's becoming so anticipated that Protosses are doing the whole, like, well, I counter you, countering me, countering you, blah, 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 blah. So that both Protosses do this, and then both Protosses send their probe out, so that both Protosses pylon block into a cybernetics core block, and it's like... What we see now, as, you know, a response to that, is kind of what MaxPax is doing. Like, maybe in some insane world where Geralt doesn't block his Nexus, MaxPax actually goes for a one gateway expand. That's an insane world, though. Protosses always scout each other. But otherwise, you just don't... You set up for a safe Nexus, but you actually still open as you would in a PvP, which is 2 gateways. They're not going to block that. Although they could. I mean, maybe we'll see that be a development. They spend 200 minerals to block this gateway positioning and this one. Like, I don't know. And there's that cybernetics core block I was talking about. Same minerals as a gateway, but more health than a pylon. And faster building than a gateway as well. So the faster a building builds, the more health it has faster. Perfect explanation. Yeah, it's a pretty strong move. It's what you do if you actually want to completely deny that natural. It's not really worth it if MaxPax is not bothering you to Nexus. Again, if he's just playing as if it was like more of a normal PvP. Which is what MaxPax is kind of doing, but I do believe he's wanting to take a Nexus by now. Like, literally right now, he would love them taking a Nexus. So, that's a bit awkward. That'll take a while. Stalker's looking around for any hidden technology, which is a very fair thing to do against MaxPax. Geralt has gone for a fast Twilight Council. So very cautious, despite having a ton of scouting and a ton of denial on what MaxPax's plan could have been. Geralt is also considering, well, he could be doing other things. In this case, he did go for a 1-base Stargate. He's trying to pump that Oracle out now, but there was a bit of an issue with supply at one point, so it's not the cleanest build here for MaxPax. I mean, ditto for Geralt, you don't usually want to go for 1-base Twilight Council, but it does happen, so there it is. Shield battery is already done, so he really doesn't have to worry about this Oracle on the way. And his Nexus, despite all of this, everything he just got, every bit of scouting he's done, the Twilight Council being faster, investing into a shield battery, he still has the slightly faster Nexus. So that's great for him. Blah, 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 blah. Alright, that's a very small little push out, but I guess the idea is to distract the natural, hit the main with 2 oracles, as this one has been patiently waiting for his sister. And with 2 oracles, you will bypass that shield battery effect, so it's working pretty well. Oh no! Oh, this isn't working now. Oh, nope, I don't know if it's worth it anymore. Ooh, he wasn't expecting to blink that fast. He wasn't expecting such a drastic blink, either or both, I don't know, but ooh, it's a little bit weird. 12 probes is actually more than I thought those 2 oracles would get. Geralt pulled pretty quickly. So I thought that the oracles are going to get maybe 6 to 8 probes. And then I'm not sure it's worth for MaxPax to lose the army that he did. But, ooh, they killed 12. So maybe that was worth it. Now, it is down to a single oracle, so Geralt can freely move across the map without having to worry about making this like a weird, you know, all-in. Okay, I don't know what that sentry thought he was going to do. But this is certainly weird. You know, that sentry is actually more important than I thought. That sentry was going to provide maybe some high ground vision. An observer is on the way, so that will provide it. And MaxPax doesn't have any shield batteries on that high ground. He will have a second immortal, however. Ooh, it's going to be close. It's gonna have a guardian shield and 2 immortals. No, no, don't do it. Don't do it. I don't think that's gonna work out. Oh my god, he goes after the immortal. Oh, it had its shield popped. Ooh, okay. Already kills that faster than anticipated, but still. Force field was used to try and block him away from the immortal instead of a guardian shield, but whew. It's a scary game. A couple of stalkers were already prepared for this. 2 more warped in. Still don't quite get the last kill on the Oracle, but look at this. Geralt, he sees it. He sees the path. He sees into the future, and he gets the Oracle. Blink, blink, blink. No. No. Blink was just barely not off cooldown. Whew. Whew. These guys, honestly. Well, now the Warp Prism's gonna try and position itself. I hope he is doing this on purpose. Well, Geralt also grabs a forward, so I don't think he's really going to dedicate to the Warp Prism. Maybe just a little bit of pokey poke. Well, that's funny. That's fair. That's fair. Just revelation it. Yep, that makes sense. +1 starting up very, very close in time to each other. despite the weirdness of this game. Charge is on the way now for MaxPax as well, who has not been really that much of a fan of starting off with Blink. He's really been a fan of these Stargates. Just the way he plays, I guess. Geralt is finishing up 5 gateways, but with Charge and +1 on the way, again, I don't think he's going to dedicate to a push, just using his Blink to the best of its ability, controlling the game and getting to a faster third. Which I guess he has to be a little careful about. Like, does he get faster third Nexus, or does he prioritize getting like a robotics bay? You know, basically, is MaxPax doing a 2-base all-in, or is he actually going to grab his own third? Geralt grabs his third. He can always cancel it. In the worst case scenario, he cancels it. He still has 7 gateways. I was like, oh, you should have more than that. 7 gateways, there you go. Oh, the micro! Oh, the micro was real. Oh, you fancy. Geralt fancy. So anyways, another Dark Shrine. I guess these guys kind of have their own unique way of playing, you know? MaxPax with the Stargate opener is a little more unique, but Geralt going for the Dark Shrine option instead of a Templar Archives or Disruptors. Now, the reason you might not be going for Disruptors is because, yeah, there's been Phoenix play in every game so far, but still, going for a Dark Shrine at all times instead of a High Templar is pretty unique, I would say. A couple of Zealots being caught in the reinforcement path, but Geralt's being very bold by continuing to chase them down instead of instantly recalling. He's got to figure the army's coming here, and looks like he did figure it out. He is totally prepared, totally willing to cancel that. Depowers 2 gateways, takes out a couple more Zealots, but he should be also ready to recall. There it is. He's gonna lose a Stalker for it. But he's been planting, he's been building a lot of Zealots. A lot of Zealots coming through here. Equal upgrades. The Blink 4 to try and catch that Warp Prism is not quite gonna be good enough, and it cost him a lot of his Stalkers. But there is still so much left over here from Geralt that is not going to be looking too good for MaxPax. I think it's actually, might have been a game-winning defense from Geralt, who was very prepared to cancel that third Nexus like I was talking about, and is actually feeling so bold in this game, so bold in that defense, he just planted down right here, right now. He didn't grab the Warp Prism, but hell, worst case scenario, he has to cancel the third Nexus again. He's going to continue to control the game with the Stalkers, check around for any third bases that MaxPax tried to slap down on his way across the map, and he's not going to find anything. MaxPax has nothing up his sleeve. He's got no Dark Shrine, he's got no Robotics Bay. He is just stuck on 2 bases with an inferior army supply. He might get an upgrade lead, I guess is the one thing. But he's going to start losing probes, and he's going to be bullied by Stalkers, honestly. Follow up all in? It's not really gonna time out well with a +2 though. I mean, his army is theoretically stronger, I guess. If the Archons get perfect shots on the Zealots, the Immortals get perfect shots on the Stalkers, but the sheer amount of charge loss I think is actually scarier. He does throw down his third behind this, where his probe's starting to mine. So I don't think he's looking to super dedicate, unless he sees an opportunity. Currently seeing only about half the army. Might give him an inclination to move in, but that, yeah, it was only about half the army. Stalkers once again go after the Warpers, and this time they grab it. They mostly die, though, and, well, hold on here. Archons of Geralt are left a little bit alone. Uh-oh. MaxPax suddenly looking very good in that supply. He's got 4 Archons left over, 3 Immortals, but he has no Warp Prism. And that might be eventually what makes Geralt win this fight. I think it will be. His Warp Prism comes in, but too late, I think, to actually warp in. He's gonna just go for some micro mastery, but ooh, much closer than I anticipated. I thought MaxPax was gonna be like, oh shit, I really overinvested, but they did not have a terrible fight. I'd have to rewind and slow it back down a little bit to see exactly what went wrong there, but Geralt's Zealots, I guess they all got smushed into the Archons, exactly what MaxPax is hoping for, so that all we were left over with was Archons. And when Archons versus Archons are happening, when you have 4 Immortals behind your Archons, you're definitely dealing more damage. It's easy math right there. And that's what made me go, hold on, wait, no. But, yeah, it turns out killing that Warp Prism saved the day. He's trying to get another Warp Prism, gets it very, very, very low at least. Now, MaxPax, he might not have won with that push, and he didn't even do that much probe damage with it, but he did stop Geralt from building probes, from saturating his third base. You know, gases still aren't up yet. So MaxPax, despite being later to the intention of a third Nexus, has actually managed to time it out pretty equally. And now even has a worker lead. Geralt did not start up +2, so remember when I was kind of just throwing MaxPax a bone, being like, well, I guess he might have +2, like, whatever. Like, ooh, he's about to have a serious upgrade lead. +3 is on the way. He's going to scout the incoming advancement of forces and just get his army in correct position. He's got to once again hope his Archons do some serious work against the Charge Lots, but the concave of Charge Lots looks a little too good, dragging them back into a bit more of a choke and saving the Archons with a Warp Prism. MaxPax is not going to give up without a fight, but Zealots are in his third Nexus as well, about to kill the pylon powering that cannon, and probes will be going down. MaxPax needs more reinforcements, needs more Archons specifically. He's not quite there yet. I think it's too much. Geralt's army finally proving to be stronger. Those Zealots actually getting the concave, I think, was the big difference. And a couple of DTs mixed in there, despite MaxPax having an Observer, might be adding a few extra swipes, now turning into those Archons. And MaxPax is, well, now he's down 10 probes as well, so Geralt is actually going to win this game. MaxPax's fight around the third, maybe a believer, man. I was like, hold on, this kid's pretty good. But ultimately, Geralt was in the better position. And the overwhelming amount of Zealots, I think, is really... It makes those Immortals look bad. When it's just Immortals versus Stalkers, Immortals are good. When it's just Immortals helping their Archon buddies against other Archons, they look good. When they're up against Charge Lots at all, they just don't seem to add as much as you would hope. But MaxPax still not ready to give up. Every time he goes back into that choke, Geralt has to respect it. His army gets super clumped up. His Archons aren't, you know, they're getting pushed behind the Stalkers, not getting their shots off. But he knows he's winning the game. Robotics Bay is on the way, and we can finally see some Disruptor action. MaxPax cannot afford to go into the Phoenixes right now. Supplies don't look that bad, but they are. It's a bad spot for MaxPax. He will have +3 to only +1, so I think the all-in is the option. The all-in is the only option, but upgrades don't matter to a Disruptor. And our first one is about to pop out. Geralt also knows that the only option here is the all-in, so he's built 3 extra shield batteries and has plenty of energy for an overcharge. Stalker's getting recalled. MaxPax, I mean, maybe he tries to take this opportunity to force it into a longer game, grabs his own third, grabs his own Disruptors, and says, hey, Disruptors, anything can happen. I respect it. But either option was is a tough option. Either he all-lanes against 1 billion shield batteries and Disruptors, maybe does some magic with +3 attack, or he plays his own Disruptor game. I guess the latter option feels a little bit more like it's still in your control. The former option kind of feels like, okay, did my opponent defend or not? Is he prepared to defend or not? Which maybe feels a little outside of your control. So I can see the benefits of doing this. But while MaxPax gets his third, Geralt is getting his fourth. The sheer amount of units Geralt will have over MaxPax is going to be pretty crazy. And, oh, Geralt's going for some Disruptor shots. Oh! That's a big one. Lots of units went down there. And there's the GG. Geralt with the 2-1. Proves to be the better Protoss versus Protoss.